I'm clairvoyant. In my family, we call it having a gift. For as long as I can remember, I've experienced things. Depending on who I'm around, I'll be vocal about it or I'll keep quiet. Recently, I've felt more open to the other side and have experienced more. A few weeks ago, my mom and I were driving around later at night, and our town is very large, and we've only lived here a few years and still aren't completely familiar with every side road. We weren't lost, but we're going down a road we hadn't been down before, not that we remembered. We passed a crematorium, and we both were like, huh. And then there was a cannabis center next to it, and I was more focused on the fact that they were right next to each other. We ended up turning around because it was dark out and we didn't want to get lost. As we passed by them again, I looked closer and then felt a presence in the car. I kept my mouth shut because I was unsure if she was passing through or not, and I didn't want to distract my mom. She's also clairvoyant, while she was driving in an unfamiliar place. The way my gift works is I'm able to talk to the ghosts in my head, and they often show me pictures or scenes or memories. For me, it's easy to differentiate between people, they've walked the earth before, and what I call entities, not of the earth. I'm not too positive if that's the technical term or not, though. The woman who joined us in the car started talking to me. I wasn't completely sure if she wanted to just share her story with me or was looking for help. She started off with showing herself to me, and she was sopping wet from head to toe and looked as if she was drowned. She had seaweed and other debris from the ocean on her, and her dress was ripped and dirty. She was very distraught, and I felt immense sadness from her. I asked her what she wanted from me and how could I help her. She got angry with me that I didn't understand right away and got closer to me. I was sitting in the passenger seat and she was in the back seat directly behind me. She was already hunched over close to me, but I didn't mind. When she got angry with me, she placed her hands on my shoulders and I could see how much she was decaying. I told her I was so sorry that happened to her, and I'm not sure if she was just angry in general or what, but she wrapped her hands around my neck and started to choke me. My instinct was to react angrily, but I was afraid it would make it worse. I already was struggling to breathe. I told her kindly, "I can't help you if you hurt me. Please take your hands off of me." She hesitated, and I asked again but more firmly, and she let go. I thanked her and asked if she had been strangled, and she told me yes. She then showed me a boat and water, and as quick as all that happened, she had left the car. A few days later, my mom and I were driving, and I was telling her about it, and she immediately picked up on what happened. We slowly pieced things together, and my mom brought my attention to other things I missed because the lady had gotten physical with me. We believe she was strangled, like I said, and whoever did that threw her in the ocean off the boat thinking she was gone and she had drowned. I think about this woman constantly and sincerely hope she finds peace and is able to move forward in the afterlife.
My grandmother passed away 3 years ago after a long fight with cancer about a month before my wedding. I saw her the day before she passed, but due to work, I wasn't at the hospital the day of and was pretty upset about it. After her funeral, I dreamt I was at my parents' house, but in the dream, it was my friend's house. He was saying to me how there are lots of ghosts in the house, and at that point, there's a knock at the door. There's a lead light window by the door, and I see an outline of a small lady in a purple wool coat, something my grandmother wore before she was admitted to hospital. I walk to the door and open it to see her standing there. I ask her how she is as I unlock the door, and then I wake up. At this point, I'm completely shaken. I get up to get some water and just process what I dreamt. After about 20 minutes, I go back to bed and eventually, after about an hour, fall asleep and begin dreaming from the exact point before I wake up where I unlock the door and see her standing there holding a plate of my favorite food that she would always make whenever I or she visited. I hug her and ask her how she is, and she says she's fine and not to be sad because everything is going to be okay. I tell her that I love her and miss her, give her one last hug, and then I wake up. At that point, I feel happy, but when I try to tell my wife what I dreamed, I completely break down, mostly at the fact that even in my dream, she brought me a plate of my favorite food. It's hard to explain, but the dream felt extremely real at the point where I saw and spoke to her. Prior to that, when speaking to my friend, it felt like a normal dream. If she did visit me, I'm so glad I got one last chance to say goodbye.
So I was in the 5th or 6th grade, hanging out with a friend at his parents' new house that they just finished building. We were in his family-attached 3-car garage, looking through boxes from his room in his old house, though I can't recall what we were looking for when he turns to me and says, "Want to see something crazy?" He goes and takes a tennis ball from one of those clear tubes they come in and proceeds to give it a couple tries before successfully throwing it through the crawlspace door that leads to a storage space above the garage we are in. I clearly hear it bounce around and stop. I don't think anything about it, and we continue looking through the boxes in his garage. We are talking to each other when all of a sudden a tennis ball comes fucking flying through the air and smacks the back wall of the garage right between us as we are standing over a box. We both bolted from his garage and went to his room on the other end of the house. He later explained to me that at their old house, located across the street from the recently built new house we're in, had a ghost in the attic that liked to move things around, as in keep things tidy. He said in the past that you could hear the boxes being slowly slid on the floor, ceiling above you, or that you would place something in one place and check on it later, and it was in a completely different place in the attic. He believed that the ghost followed them to their new home. All I know is the tennis ball experience freaked the hell out of me, and I refused to ever go back into their garage. Some facts. He was the youngest of 2 siblings, and his older brother was away at college. His dad was at work, and his mom had left us alone to go to the store. There was no one else at his house. Even if there was someone in that crawl space above their garage, you would have easily heard them walking around.
Hello all. Please tell me your scariest stories. Mostly mimic stories, but I'll take anything paranormal, UFO, skinwalkers, NDE, etc. I would love to read them. I recently had a paranormal experience and it's gotten me more interested in this world. My husband was at work a few days ago and I was playing video games with some online friends. I suddenly heard my husband's voice calling me. It said, "Babe, can you come in here for a second?" I had my headset on, and we were still in the lobby of the game, so I told my friends to wait because I think my husband came home early. Our bedroom, where I was, can look directly into the living room, open floor plan, so I didn't go in there, I just looked, and it was empty. I thought I was tripping, so I went back to the game. Right as I was about to put my headset back on, I heard it again. It said, "Babe, come here." I looked again and nothing. I thought my husband was just trying to scare me, so I called his phone. I was convinced I would hear it ring from the living room, but I didn't. He answered, and he's a truck driver, so I could hear the engine of his truck from the phone. I asked where he was. He told me that he was on his way back from Illinois. Just to be sure, I asked him to honk the horn. He did. I instantly freaked out, shut my system off, didn't even tell my friends, and ran out the house through the back door. Got in my car and drove to a park and waited there until my husband got home. I told my husband about this. He believed me. He said it was a mimic and that I should never answer or respond to it. My husband is a huge believer in the paranormal, and he said that once a mimic knows you can hear it, it will continue to mimic loved ones to make you go crazy, bring illness and or possibly death. Anyone know more about this? This is the first and only time this has happened. The night, there were only my mother and I for some reason in the house. After we finished our conversation, she wanted to get some sleep, so I returned to my room. Then I threw my body to the bed and literally heard yelling of my name with voice of my mother, but which is awkwardly mimicking to my left ear. I jumped because I was shocked and then saw some normal black human-shaped thing disappearing to the wall. I didn't know TF was happening and called to my mother and asked her, "Mom, are you there? What was that?" Then I saw my door was closed and even I accidentally locked it. She replied, "What do you mean? I'm here. I was sleeping, and what was that sound?" I wanted to refuse the situation, so I ran to the mom, and then she slowly realized what was happening. Our family has a lot of experiences of these kind of things. Sometimes a faceless woman appeared in front of me, and then threw my pot from my kitchen to the floor when I was home alone, but that situation was far better. It was a few days after we heard screaming of woman in our home,
and I dreamed of some 8-foot-tall lady. She was doing nothing, but she always stood in front of me. But the last one was something different. She was dragging my body and said, "I won't let you go. You can't leave me. I never let you go. You must be with me." After I woke up, I told this to my family. Then my father replied, "Wait, you too? Was it some tall woman?" Then my brother said, "What? You guys too? Some fucking tall lady?" That place was a new house we moved in. So my father, whose job is police investigator, he searched some info. Literally, this place of new home was literally on the field of massacre of the Korean War. So we sold our home, then moved to new. But fucked up shit happened. My father went there because the new owner of the house asked to help him. The new owner thought something had broken due to the wall pad not working. So my father went there, but he was alone. Yeah, the new owner asked him to help him, but for some reason when my father arrived, he wasn't in the house, then got a call of him that apologized for he was outside due to some his work. But my father asked his permission to enter and let him check. So right after he got permission, my father was checking wall pad. Then he said he heard some noise. Then he realized it was sound of crying of woman. And it started to get close to his ear. In the end, it was sobbing right behind him. I heard this one. My father suddenly returned home and offed his work. But with his uniform, he was drinking a bottle of soju. He told me this thing happened just an hour ago, and he mumbled, "I was too sacred." It was so terrifying. He finished his booze with shaking hands. Once again, he is a veteran police investigator and still doing his job more than 20 years. He saw and experienced a lot of things and did a lot of investigations of victims, but that thing was kind of gone too far. And I told this one to my friend that thinks any paranormal shits are just mind-playing and so damn cynical of it. But he replied, "Your house won't let you go. Still." I was shocked he said such things I never expected to hear.